All right, then, gang. I hope you're going well. It's Andy, and welcome to Ask Andy Anything. It is Thursday, the 16th of July, just past 12:30. I hope everyone is going okay. Excuse the casual attire. I was just saying to the guys on Instagram Live, with lots and lots of rumours going around Facebook and what have you, and number of cases going up again in Victoria. There is a bit of a widespread belief that we could be going into stage 4. So I've been in serious arse in gear mode, making sure that I keep things moving forward, even irrespective of the noise that's around us. It's so easy, right, to get caught up in all the drama and to freeze in amongst all of the chaotic noise that's going on around us. But realistically, gang, we've got to just keep moving forward. We really do, because we don't know how stage 4 is going to be interpreted, even if it does happen. We don't know. I mean, I was just got a message from one friend of mine who apparently there was a New South Wales lockdown at the border between New South Wales and Victoria. He had all of his relevant documentation because he's a truck driver, and with regards to it being essential items going across the border, and apparently wasn't even stopped. So we really need to just keep moving forward until you get specifically told otherwise. You have to, because otherwise, if you listen to all of the stuff before any of it's happened, you'll end up really just screwing yourselves over before we've even begun. So just keep pushing forward, gang. Keep pushing forward. Now, got a couple of quick questions that I'm going to quickly tackle. One is very specific towards a certain type of property within the real estate space, and how everything has gone on, how it's affected the prices of those. And the next one, the second one, is to do with improving working relationships. It got asked of me by a mortgage broker in Melbourne, who wanted to know why agents don't have relationships with brokers now to improve it. But I've got some. So let's get on with the show. First one. How does self-sustainability affect sale prices? How does self-sustainability? So this question was supposed to be by Mark Chadwick, who is he's a friend of mine now, but he was a consistent client of mine over a few years down in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, and he's very much about self-sustainability. Growing of plants and food and veg, fruit and veg, and all that sort of stuff. He has chucks in his backyard, and really does a hell of a lot of his own stuff, and he's really, really good at it. And he wanted to know how these sorts of properties, where people have made the effort to get them set up to be self-sustaining and self-preserving, how those sorts of things can affect sale prices moving forward with everything that's gone on. I mean, look, when it comes to society beliefs and what have you, it's always a good thing to do if you can be self-sustaining in that respect, because then you know exactly where the food's coming from and all that sort of really cool stuff. But I think the importance of it, especially once all of the drama in the supermarkets happened, I think the importance of it has become really, really prevalent. Without trying to get too sort of philosophical about the whole COVID thing, I think one thing that it certainly has done is give us all a bit of a slap in the mouth and say, guys, you've been really, really lazy for quite a long time, and you've had it really quite good for a while. So I think now you need to maybe sort of have a think about what you're doing with your life. I think Mother Nature, or whatever you want to call it, has given us a real hard dose of reality that we have become way too much of a consumer-based population, where we're just chomping up everything like there's no tomorrow. So self-sustainability in itself is 100% a great thing to do. Now, Mark, who asked me this, Mark Chadwick, he's got his house set up that way. And he knows a whole bunch of other people, particularly older Italian families that have gone into retirement and whatnot, that have got all that set up. The Mediterranean families, like your Italians and your Greeks, they've always been about growing your own fruit and veg and all that sort of really cool stuff. I've had a number of clients from the likes of Thailand, where they love growing their own chilies and all those really nice things. I reckon, seriously, if a property has been properly set up, now I'm not just talking about a half-assed job like what we've got out in our backyard, like a proper setup that has got self-sustainability, it's got, you know, plenty of produce coming through, and it's got like your chuck pens and all those sorts of things. So like mini hobby farm type setups. If you're, as long as you're doing that for your own self-consumption and whatnot, and you're not using it from a commercial point of view, I actually believe that by advertising that on properties, it will get a much greater response from a much smaller niche. But I tell you what, they're going to be really keen on having a look at your house. I genuinely think that if you advertise properties that have really been set up properly for self-sustainability, I reckon that is 100% something that you should be broadcasting to the masses. You're going to get some people that won't be too fussed about having all the chucks and fruits and veg and blah, 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 blah. But not only will you get those that are already into it, that are just maybe looking for a slightly bigger or slightly much smaller setup, but the awareness amongst lots and lots of families, especially around not only from all the drama that happened in the supermarkets, but also the growing knowledge around pesticides and all those sorts of things that get sprayed across crops and what have you. I reckon, and the importance, the greater level of importance that's been put on being able to identify where your stuff has come from as it goes to your plate, I think that is a brilliant thing to be marketing as an agent. If I was an agent in charge of that, I would be singing that from the rooftops, 100%. And I reckon, like I said, you might put off generic Joe buyer, but the ones that will be keen will be really keen and absolutely pay more money to get a proper setup like what Mark Chadwick has. So definitely 100%. I think self-sustainability. It will potentially niche your market, but I think it will absolutely positively affect your sale price, 100%. Really, really good little question. Quite a specific question. I'm totally cool with that. If you want to go generic or specific, I really don't mind, because ultimately, if we can help one person, then that's great. So hopefully, Mark, that helps answer your question. I think there's no doubt in my mind that will add value to your home, especially now, like even more so than before. The amount of appreciation from a society point of view in that sort of setup is really significant, if you ask me. All right, now, second question, and we're rattling through them today, because, yeah, like I said, really hectic day. And some of these episodes might go 30, 40 minutes. Some of them might only take 15 to 20 or less or whatever. I just want to get some questions answered. Now, this one's a cool one, and this is right down my alley. I love this sort of question around networking and how to improve working relationships. Now, this was posed to me by a broker in Melbourne who really has been struggling to maintain really solid relationships with real estate professionals, because either through the fact that they get their eyes light up with an offer from another broker or a different lender with regards to referral fees, and generally finds that real estate professionals are very fleeting in their working relationships with people, especially mortgage brokers, because there are plenty of them kicking around that are desperate, not desperate, but well, some of them are desperate, but really trying to get more business going through the real estate agents' channels. And I want to take it one step further and talk about working relationships as a whole, because one thing I noticed as a real estate professional is a lot of real estate agents are very much accustomed to being motivated by the referral fee, the voucher for Coles Myer, the cinema tickets, or very materialistic type bonuses, as such, shall we call them, for that referral relationship. Obviously, being open hands with the consumers and whatnot. So that's the way that they've been drilled and designed to really assess working relationships to a degree. I don't necessarily think that that's one party's fault or the other, but it's definitely a problem, because when I was dealing with, when I had relationships with brokers or conveyancers, so this is another key relationship, working with conveyancers and agents, a lot of the time, agents will go to the conveyancer that's giving them the best voucher or whatever the case may be, the biggest voucher. I always used to go to Rose Brady, Conveyancer Resolutions, or Tanya Satilli, who now coincidentally work together anyway. And the reason why I went to those guys was because it wasn't for the fee. In fact, they were probably two of the only people that didn't give out referral vouchers and whatnot at the time. And you know, when you're doing 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 transactions a year, those little vouchers add up, right? They add up to a significant amount of money. So I get why agents really do go for them. But the reason why I really enjoyed my working relationship with those two ladies is because of the fact that we built a relationship of trust. We made the effort to get to know each other and how each other worked and operated. And then from there, we ascertained how each party can make the other party's life a hell of a lot easier. So case in point, there was a Saturday afternoon and I just listed a property in Cranbourne North, if I remember it right, 3 Franks Way. I even know the address. I remember this was years ago. And so I listed it on the Thursday, took a buyer through on the Friday before we'd gone to market. They wanted to, took photos on the Friday, took someone through on the Saturday, and they wanted to make an offer immediately. And it was going to be at a really, really healthy level from an offer level point of view. The Section 32 hadn't been drawn up yet. And I called Rose and said, look, I don't know if this is even possible, but I want to see if you can help me out with this, because I've got a buyer that is red hot, super, super keen on the property, willing to pay top dollar, and we want to get this done. Rose was in the garden doing her garden thing, and I even heard her drop her tools. I literally heard her drop her tools on the other end of the phone, and she said, no problem, give me 40 minutes and I'll get it across to you. No word of a lie, in 30 minutes, I had the contract to sell in my inbox, ready to go, and we managed to retain the buyer, get it signed up, get it done, well, all within that one Saturday afternoon. Now, for me personally, I felt that actions like that are worth way more than any referral voucher that you could offer me, to be honest. And this is why the relationship worked so incredibly well. I knew that she had my back in respect to she will help out to a greater extent because we built that relationship up. From her point of view, she knew that I was never going to take the mickey out of her for it. I wasn't going to call her every single Saturday and demand Section 32s and whatnot. She knew that I wasn't going to take advantage of the relationship. So because we put in the effort to actually get to know each other, how each other operated and how best to work with each other, it created a much more solid relationship moving forward. I knew she made my life easier. And then when I referred clients to her, I also knew that I didn't have to worry about the legal side of things in that respect. And much like a broker, if I referred someone onto one of the brokers that I used to work with, I knew that it was going to be fine. Like, I knew that the peace of mind I had meant that I could move forward and focus on the other transactions that were either about to happen or pending or what that I wanted to create. The peace of mind that allowed me to move forward was worth way more money in the long term because it allowed me to focus on my job instead of worrying about stuff that is out of my control. Very, very critical point now. You can only focus on what you can do. So the other stuff, that's the stuff that you need to have relationships with other people that can focus on those other things. You need to put time into these relationships though, gang. So if you're from outside the industry looking to create relationships with real estate professionals, don't just go into a meeting with a box of donuts and think that you're going to get referrals from there. You need to actually put in the time and effort to get to know these people and get to understand what makes them tick, where their problems are, and how by what you do, how that can make their lives a lot easier. You have to do that. If all you do is rely on referral fee in order to get business, it will be a completely superficial relationship that you have with your real estate professionals. They will just move on to the next one that offers them more money. Simple as that. But if you put in a bit of time to get to know them and actually help them with their operations via what it is that you do, the dollar value of that is way more significant. Way more significant. And that's how I'd be starting those relationships with these people. I'd be saying, look, I'm sure they're better referrers in terms of fees and in terms of how big the voucher is and whatnot. I'm sure there's going to be better people out there for that. I'm interested in actually making your life easier by helping you out with your operation, with what it is that I do, whether it's communication or whatever the case may be. That is how you build decent working relationships. You have to put time and effort into it. It doesn't just happen on a whim. It doesn't just happen because you had one really good conversation and you thought, oh yeah, you thought you were both good lads and good mates and, oh yeah, we'll get on just fine. You're going to have to put in the time from a professional point of view to make sure of two things. One, that they know that you've got their back, not with respect to dodgy deals and crap like that. No nonsense. In fact, I had a building inspector right in my first year that said to me one thing that stopped me working with them forever, which was he literally walked out of one property and said, "Don't worry, Andy, I'll make sure it goes through for you." I wasn't interested. It made me feel ill, to the point where I actually was open hands about that deal, and they managed to work out a different price, I mean, look, I know I'm getting paid by the vendor, but at the same time, I'm not prepared to forego my moral compass in order to get a deal. It's just not how I flew or fly. So I never used that dude again, ever once. So making sure, though, that you've got their back in terms of the operation. If there is something that's about to go wrong, make damn sure that they know that you're going to make sure that it is communicated appropriately, that it is handled with a degree of care that isn't just going to make everybody shit their pants. All right? The building inspector that I did end up referring to quite a lot was great because he bombed a couple of deals on me, which meant I knew he was legit. But the best thing was he was educated in how he needed to broadcast the information that he found on a property to a consumer so that they took it in the context that it was meant to be in. That is massive. That is absolutely enormous. If a broker can see a problem coming along, there are ways that you can communicate that to purchasers and agents. At the end of the day, agents have got to manage those clauses with regards to the emotions of everybody else. You throw a bomb in there that you haven't preempted that, and you haven't preempted the concern, you've just told them on the day, they're not going to like you. It's as simple as that. Put in time, build these relationships. And then as agents, you don't know when you're going to need to call upon it. You might think that your shit don't stink, but everybody needs help at some point or another. It is worth you building those relationships as well, not only because you might end up getting referral business, okay, not only because of that, but it makes your job easier if you know you've got a network of people in certain professions that can assist you if you really need to hit the panic button. Deals are falling over left, right, and center right now, right? People are panicking. People are getting cold feet because of the latest thing that Dan Andrews says or whatever. This is where your network is worth its weight in gold. It is absolutely critical that you have a really strong network that you can rely upon, so that any deal that does look like it's getting shaky or buyer confidence has dropped through the floor, then you can help them through that process so that they can feel comfortable and confident about continuing on with the deal. Networks, man. For me, it was the game changer for me when I really came to understand how important it was. The way that it was just ridiculous how much easier my job became. I didn't end up needing a PA for a lot of stuff because of how quickly I could get stuff done or quickly I could communicate with certain parts of my network. It meant I didn't necessarily need a PA. And like I said, man, like transaction volumes were north of 50 pretty much every year. So that's what I'm saying, gang. If you've got a really strong network, you can make your life that much easier. All right. So, guys, I hope you found those 2 questions helpful. I hope you found them useful with respect to, I know that old Sherlock Holmes, Melvin, he's and he's a Geordie as well. So that's another reason why we get on. But hopefully, man, I hope that's giving you a bit of an idea into the psyche of an agent. Yeah, if you're going to keep it superficial and just lead in with fees and referral fees and whatnot, that's all you're going to get is a superficial relationship. So you really need to focus on what it is that you can actually provide from a value point of view, not money, value point of view that can make agents' lives easier. And vice versa, agents, you want to make your lives easier so that you can get more done. Less barriers to entry means more success down the track. All right, then, gang, that's it for today. That's it for today. I hope everyone is well. Like I said, we're all, Victoria's getting a little bit nervy. I can understand why. So if you do have any real stresses or what have you, I'm here. We're here for you. So please feel free to hit us up. Anywhere else in the country or across the ditch in New Zealand, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the show. Let's all be there for each other, right? Let's all be there for each other. It's pretty important that we are. If there's anything that anybody can help, like I said, I've got a pretty strong network. If anybody needs any help with anything, I'm here for you. All right, gang, take it easy. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday, D-Day, according to the masses. All right, we'll speak to you soon.